Good morning and welcome to our seed session today. I'm Kathy Miller with Get Real. I am the Managing Director of Training and Development. Today I have with me Ed Haravon and Rob Merrilees, our two co-founders of Get Real. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Rob, for being here today. A little bit about why we're doing this interview and what SEED stands for. So SEED is the Spatial Computing Experiences and Expertise Development. And they are various packages that allow enterprise and anyone who is interested in virtual and augmented reality and learning more about it. Can you explain what SEED is?
No, sure. I'll start on that, Kathy. I think the SEED packages really kind of had their beginning in two major ways. First, it's really an extension of the work that we've been doing ever since we started the company in 2020. There's a tremendous need for education. There's a tremendous need for people who are curious and they can read a few articles, might be aware of some applications of VR, AR technology, but they just don't know where to start. And so Rob and I both found ourselves spending a great deal of time just getting people oriented with the hardware, just showing people what might be possible before they even are talking about what they want to do for their business, literally to just get their mind going. Cross that with a little bit more of a formalization of that process. So whereas before we would do that over the course of several phone calls, over the course of a week, we'd help people along, we'd try to stoke some interest, and then we would try to, pivot a little bit to their own business. And in the world where we want to provide, strategic consulting services and be a partner and advisor to these businesses going forward with this technology, we decided to make it much more of a concise, focused effort on that education front at the beginning.
We're able to help that client begin down the path of an assessment kind of from a neutral space. Do we have partner companies that we work with? And of course, best-in-class solutions that we feel are well suited for many clients and many use cases? Absolutely. But there are some use cases that may be unique or individual to a specific company that needs a different type of solution or a different approach, or the combination of several different companies, potentially to try to help solve their problem. And what the SEED package does is it begins to educate the client kind of around the world of possibility. And we'll get into, I'm guessing that we'll get into the different aspects of these different programs, of different SEED packages that we have, but it allows them to start in a way that kind of gives them a 30,000-foot view, even if they've had zero experience before in virtual reality or augmented reality, or just seen a news clip or a quick video on the web, or if they've identified that, no, this is a direction that we absolutely want to go, and we're not sure how to take those first few steps, and we need someone to help guide us along the way.
Would you describe what the SEED packages are? What makes them different from one another?
Generally the packages are designed to scale in a number of different factors. One being obviously cost, second being the time to completion. We have packages that are designed to complete within 1 week. We have ones that take also complete between 5 and 6 weeks. We scale with the number of participants, so it depends on how big the members of the team are that the organization was looking to get involved in the SEED packages. So we have different programs that will work with smaller groups, and some will work with larger groups up to 15 participants. All packages come with overviews of the industry, both hardware and software, various different techniques and tricks that the industry uses now in its infancy to help produce that software and bring it to customers. It also comes with your choice of different experiences that you can have with your team.
There's a starter package. That's our shortest, smallest package. It's the lowest price point that folks would come in at. They would identify an experience that they want to have. We would walk them through how to secure hardware, and they don't need to have a headset actually for that experience, but they'll be introduced to in a very concrete way to an experience that they think will be relevant to them that we come up with in consultation. As we get into the silver and gold packages, it can accommodate more team members. It will identify more experiences, 3 experiences, VR or AR experiences in the silver, and 5 in the gold seed package. And we also start to get into, all the packages have some level of strategic consulting. At the starter level, it's an industry analysis. As we get into the silver, we get to add a competitor analysis. So maybe they're concerned about not just what's happening in my industry in VR, but I'm particularly concerned about one competitor, or curious about what one competitor is doing, and to the extent that there's information that's available publicly about what they're doing, we can give some context around, here's what they might be thinking, here's what their individual strategy might be. It may or may not make sense for this particular client that we're having that conversation with, but it'll give them a stake in the ground to consider how somebody that they respect is approaching the subject of VR. And then as we get into the gold package, and I'll ask Ed to talk about the custom package here in a second, but as we get into the gold package, now we actually are going to begin to get pretty detailed about what their project might unfold and look like. So they will have had a number of experiences at that point. They'll have a sense as to what their competitors are doing, what's happening in their industry, and it begins. It's kind of, all right, now let's take that first step of what makes sense for their team, for their business, for their corporation, their organization, and might be a little bit more appropriate for, say, your C-level executives or folks who might be running an innovation lab for that company, because it'll both be at a high level strategic perspective, but also pretty grounded in terms of how what steps do we need to take? What will this project actually feel like? How do I gain adoption within my firm for a new technology? How do we make sure that the project is a success? Ed, could you comment a bit on the customized seed package, Get Real Custom?
Yeah, sure. So the customized seed package is our 4th option, and really we'll work with companies to design the exact experience that they want. Very tailored, specific. It's usually going to be, probably geared towards a larger company with a little more defined viewpoint. It might be something that we work to set up to design, new experiences, or to give access to new experiences that they might specifically be looking for. Certainly on the custom side, we can accommodate larger groups as well. So, larger full learning teams, for instance, or full marketing teams, or full C-level suites, to help spread that knowledge throughout the organization in a clear, concise way at the same time. Ironically, where we've seen the most traction on these types of custom experiences has been from actual VR and AR companies themselves. And so we can work with companies that, are again involved in a lot of this education and training, as part of their software rollouts, as part of their products being put into customers' hands. And so we can partner with companies to help design that first experience, that introductory experience to their own applications in many ways, and work with the company so that develop training plans, certification plans if it gets that far, but ways that they could kind of handle all of the sales portion of the software, and then have us contracted out to do the onboarding piece, and to be experts in their product, and to design these experiences such that their clients come ready to be fully capable in using the product after they get done with the Get Real seed experience.
Why is seed beneficial, and why might an organization be interested in one of our seed packages?
Rob, myself, the Get Real team, we're well versed in trying to work with companies on what their particular use cases might be, and help really broaden their horizons as to how they could leverage the technology. But ultimately, the best ideas are going to come from the companies that know their business the best. So the more we can do in this early phases of the seed package of showing people different varieties of experiences, the more that we can have that team go back, talk amongst themselves, and really stoke up a lot of interest and a lot of excitement about a very specific use case on their own, in their own everyday business, that we'd love to have them come back to us and talk about, hey, can we do this? And absolutely, Get Real, we'd love to be able to help make that possible for them.
So this notion of bringing on a new technology, integrating a new technology into an organization can be really daunting, because a lot of times that's actually where a project might stall, is because they haven't given enough consideration to the adoption and training piece. And so then people are uncomfortable with the technology. The folks that are trying to push that innovation agenda are too busy to help. It got their attention initially to say, hey, let's go down this road, but they don't have the time, the chance, the inclination to really think through what's going to be required to have a positive onboarding experience from the actual users. And that's where the best ideas typically will come from. I mean, there's a lot to be said for the strategic vision and for the kind of, this is where this could go, and the sorts of productivity that it could enable. And that's all great, and that's how it gets started. But it's actually the users that will end up refining those ideas, maybe coming up with fundamentally new and different ideas that should be utilized to take advantage of the technology. But they have to get up to speed to get in the game. To have those ideas, they have to get up to speed with using the technology, and that's where a seed package is perfect, because those folks in the training, those folks in the technology group or at the visionary group or the innovation group, they're hoping for a successful integration and adoption of this technology, of any new technology. So it's not that there's a lack of will or conviction, but sometimes there's a gap between that level of commitment and then the actual just day-to-day. How do we get them up and going? And so seed packages are perfect for that.
Could you talk a little bit about why Seed is unique to both the pre-existing services that we provide and other VR companies in the market?
So the seed package is really for that person who wants to get started and doesn't know where to begin. And I don't see a lot of other people in the marketplace. Everybody is doing it in one shape or form, I'm sure, because these clients are, the characteristics and the profile of these clients are the same, right? Like, they're interested. They don't know how to use a headset. They've never had one on. They tried it 4 years ago when the technology was radically different than it is today. And so, all companies, anybody in the space, vendors, product builders, consulting firms, are doing this sort of education. What Seed is unique at doing is it's kind of spelling it out right at the beginning. And so, much in the same way that firms will spend for professional development, they'll have client employees or teams go to a conference, or they'll have them go take a course to help be that kind of leading edge for the organization in a particular technology. What we've done is formalize that process. So you can come right to Get Real. You can look on our website. You can say, yes, this is what I want to do for me and my 6 teammates. Here's a defined budget. Here's how we're going to design this program, and whether I go on to work in VR or not, or whether it immediately leads to a fully implemented project, or I take some time to digest and get more people involved. I've taken a concrete step with a beginning and an end that has a logical curriculum and a logical amount of subject material that's covered in a short period of time, such that that team walks away with a sound foundational knowledge about the industry, and is willing to embrace any challenges that come in their business to try to decide how they might be able to use it going forward. The technology is ready now. And while it's still very early, and there still will be an incredible amount of innovation, an incredible amount of change, literally month by month by month for many years as the technology becomes mainstream, the technology is ready now. So it does offer a very compelling value proposition, because costs have come down, access to hardware has gone up, and it's pretty compelling for companies to get started now. Something small, something attainable to have some success. To really go back to what if you had access to a BlackBerry before your competitor did for a year, you know, that made a difference. And so we're in that moment now for virtual reality and augmented reality. The technology is ready. The time to start is now. And by doing so, you're only going to be more equipped in the future to understand, as the technology moves, where you need to pivot towards. So if you wait until broad, wide scale adoption, and it's really just table stakes for anybody who wants to be in your industry, you know, you've probably wasted a lot of good time that you could have had a competitive advantage.
The seed package allows folks to begin to get into that same technology, the very same technologies that are being used by the most successful companies around the world, and to do it in a fairly, cost efficient way, so that you can see what that's all about and why it is that they are doing that. You don't need a team of 50 people to begin to have to take the steps that Ed's describing. So it's there now. It's just, you just have one that has to just get started like anything else. And this is a great way to get started. The seed package, for whatever the size of a firm, or its budget, or its vision, for how extensive its use of spatial computing should be. The seed package, one of the seed packages can accelerate that, so they can get where they need to go sooner than they would be able to otherwise.
Thanks so much, Ed and Rob, for being here today talking about the seed packages. We'll look forward to having more conversations with you along the way. And in the audience, if you're interested in the seed package or learning more about Get Real, please visit our website for more information. Likewise, if you want to keep up to date on Get Real and the virtual reality industry, follow us on Twitter, as well as connect with us on LinkedIn. To all of you out there who have taken the time to listen to us, thank you so much, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.